Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's session. So, to begin with, as you all know, today the session is all about data analytics. Forget the age when people used to simply collect data and strategically organize it. Today, the data scientists and the data analysts in specific are responsible for creating complex algorithms and captivating visuals using the data. In this era, when we are creating mind-boggling amount of data on a daily basis, imagine the scope that this role has to offer. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment of data analysts and other related occupations is projected to grow by 33% from 2020 to 2030, which is much faster than the average of all occupations. Another report by IBM estimates that by 2025, there will be over 2.7 million job postings for data analysts and data scientists in the US market alone. Given the case, the future of data analysts looks very bright and promising. But what do our experts have to say about the Indian market? Let's ask them directly. Dear students, the panelists for today's ISERT discussion on data analytics and the future opportunities, the panelists include Mr. Srinivas Vuppala, Global Head of Cloud and Data at Sonata Software. Mr. Srinivas has over 20 years of experience in the industry. I welcome Mr. Srinivas Vuppala on behalf of ISERT. Our next panelist is Mr. Ravi Shankar Subramanian, who is the Associate Divisional Manager of Client Organization at TVS Credit. Mr. Ravi Subramaniam has done his MTech in Data Sciences from IIT Hyderabad and has over 17 years of experience in the industry. I welcome Mr. Srinivas Shankar Subramaniam. Last but not the least, we have our very own Mr. Kalyanam Kannan, Dean of Corporate Affairs at RRCE. He has earlier held the positions of Global Head of Testing and that of the Vice President at Sonata Software Limited. Welcome to the Conclave, Mr. Kalyanam Kannan. Dear students, let's begin the discussion for the day. But before that, I request all of you joining here from various educational institutions to make the best use of this interaction with the industry experts by asking any questions related to the field of data analytics that you might have. You can pass on the question to your student coordinator and she or he shall post it here on your behalf. So my first question is for Mr. Srinivas Vuppala. Sir, what are the current opportunities in the field of data analytics and data sciences in India?
I'm sure you are much more well educated than I am with regard to what are the opportunities that are there. But I think if you do see, right, data is an asset that has got its own life cycle at each stage of data, right? Like you rightly said, there is an ability to collect the data, putting the data. So there are multiple problems there itself, right? So people need to build the right kind of data. People need to build a trustable data. So there's this data engineering space. Then there is a lot of new technologies that are being developed in terms of how do you manage distribution data? How do you create an industry or business view of that? So there is a governance, there is data governance capability, data management capability. So there's capabilities there. The third area is about how do you then create meaning to this data, right? So where there are people who want to consume this, so people who want to consume data for integration purposes, people who want to consume this for making their retrospective decisions or futuristic predictive decisions, proactive decisions, whatever decision they want to make. They need reports, algorithms for that. And of course, the data itself is no longer at one space, right? So you have everything that is. So there are capabilities that are required to basically manage different kinds of data. You have data from social, you have data from customer interactions, you have data from machines, you have data from the moving systems, right? So stationary systems, moving systems. So there are multiple things that people are capturing, and then there is a making sense of it, making algorithms of that, and making taking control of those things. So you have variety of roles that are emerging. And if you notice recently, you will notice that AI is becoming almost ubiquitous, and it is becoming almost like democratization of AI, right? So, and then you see Gen AI, and there are new capabilities that are coming out of how to apply AI to various business problems. How do you improve productivity of people? How do you improve productivity of developers? How do you improve decision making of the company? How do you make sense out of language data that is coming out, which traditional data is not never used to do? So now your voice, video, all those things, you can make sense out of that and you can take decisions. So multitudes of opportunities and multitudes of roles are there. But in industry, we typically want to reduce the complexity. We'll simply say data engineers, data analysts, data architects, and of course the enterprise data architects. So those are the kinds of roles we typically look at. But multitudes of skills and capabilities that are required to manage multitudes of data sources and data systems in place.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ravishankar, your comments on this, please. Mr. Ravishankar, am I audible to you? Can you kindly switch on your video, sir? Okay, by the time we get in touch with Mr. Ravishankar, sir, Kalyanam Kannan, do you have any comments on this particular question?
Yeah, I think what Srini has told is correct, but mainly I wanted to bring out a key difference or the key input, I would say, for the students who are here and even to the entire fraternity of faculty here. So there are two different aspects. One is data science, other one is artificial intelligence, which is getting more and more popular today. So we are seeing multiple devices, we are seeing hologram-based creation of an object right from a distant place. All these things are possible only because of data science, and we are able to the ability of our systems to get more amount of data. To give a very clear example of what is data science as well as what is artificial intelligence today. So data science is the entire life cycle of the data, starting from collection of the data, then cleaning up the data, then you characterization of the data, and then bringing out meaningful analysis from the data. So all these things comes under data science aspects. For that, we'll be using multiple methods. For example, all the algorithms and all these techniques what we studied during our school days as well as college days is coming into practice. It's very important thing. And then the other one is your statistical analysis. All these things will help which type of data to take, what type of data to take, where to take, where is the deviation. All these things are methods that we have been used on a regular basis, which is coming out very handy today because we have much amount of data today. That is on the data science. But when it goes to artificial intelligence, it is primarily concerned with the creating systems which could utilize this data to provide what you call an outcome-based system or a machine or a tool or an instrument to the mankind. That is artificial intelligence. So again, if you see the primary goal of our data science is basically the patterns. For example, if you are going to have, for example, if you want to sell something, so in this region, this particular market is going to do very well. So that is a pattern that we will be able to get, because that's all the algorithms as well as the systems what we have to collect data, analyze data is going to provide it. It's a pattern analysis is what we'll get in the data science subject. Similarly, when it comes to artificial intelligence, what we'll have is we will have a system which will take its own decision. So artificial intelligence mainly dwells with the decision-making thing, where it utilizes all the existing data as well as the whatever the analysis what we are doing and then create those machines. For example, in real-time example, if you want to do like that, so for example, weather forecast. So there are now artificial intelligence is being deployed in a very large extent. It will predict the weather directly. Today is going to be this cloudy, not cloudy. All these things are artificial intelligence system based on the data which is being collected by various satellites which is roaming around the space. So that is data science, and this is going to be artificial intelligence. And we say the technique used, as I told earlier, statistical methods all the students have gone through, but I would request the students to get a more amount of interest in that and do statistical analysis method and then machine learning algorithms in a very in-depth way. So that will build a very good career for them in basically in the data analysis as well as in artificial intelligence area. And if it comes to the, I would say the artificial intelligence part, this is directly mapped with your neural networks and nonlinear programming. So neural networks, for example, earlier we used to hear about our washing machines that I have been saying it has a fuzzy logic. And then all these things are possible because of neural networks. Now, the same neural networks has become extremely faster because of the availability of abundance of data as well as the computing power of the system. For example, now we are talking about quantum computing, where the amount of power that can compute is going to be very huge. When that is the case, all of your algorithms and all your statistical methods, all your analytical models, what you have studied, is going to work excellently, I would say. You can see the immediate result. Earlier, when we are studying engineering, this kind of algorithm, we had to wait for 2 years in Fortran for the output to come out from the Fortran lab. Now you get it in 2 seconds. So that is the difference between the computing power which was available earlier as well as available today. The systems are not changed, the algorithms are not changed, but the power of these have changed tremendously so that whatever you have learned is becoming a reality as you just operate it. So we are getting many robots, we are getting many forecasts, especially it will be very much useful in the financial trade as well as kind of thing where we can get. Now I think when you open your social media, you will get Elon Musk speaking about quantum AI platform. So you can make $5,000, $4,000. All this is possible because of the computing power as well as the data what you have. So from the student perspective, just focus on what you're studying, especially in statistical analysis as well as your normal Bernoulli. All this theorem is there. Focus on that and see how practically it could be applied. That is what is artificial intelligence. It is not rocket science, but the application of what you have studied. And there are some areas in which data science have played a very important role. One is healthcare, finance, marketing, and then this weather forecasting kind of thing. And we have, if you come to artificial, all these equivalent of this, we say virtual assistants. That is there. Then automatic vehicles. All these are happening because in US you would have seen videos saying that vehicles going automatically. That is because of the data it has captured and accumulated over a period of time about the road. Because data, for example, if you talk about big data, again, students need to do about 2 things. One is Hadoop and MATLAB. MATLAB is also equally efficient today when compared to the earlier days. So the format of data that is being captured, it can be videos, it can be images, it can be text, it can be content, and it can be, for example, sound signals. So that is what the big data signals are being used, and using the Hadoop platform, they are massaging the data and then giving the data into the cars, intelligent cars, so they can drive with the road with precision as well as in accuracy. The same thing is going to come over everywhere when you have a lot amount of data, and all this trick is with you to how to learn it effectively, and then you can see the actual results in terms of artificial intelligence. So that's what I thought that bit I would add from my little knowledge what I have in that.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ravi Subramaniam, are you able to unmute yourself now? Is the technical glitch sorted? Can we hear it from you? Okay. Okay, I think it will take a little while. Meanwhile, I have a question for Mr. Srinivas Bhupala. Sir, what kind of preparations do the students need from their end to be prepared to handle the role of data analyst? Anything that is extra academic out of their regular syllabus that they have? Mr. Srinivas, I think you need to unmute yourself, sir. So you have to unmute yourself.
I think someone has muted everyone, I think.
No, but we are able to hear you.
Yeah, okay. I think now it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can you repeat the question?
Yes, so my question to you was, what kind of preparations do the students require on their end to handle the role of data analysts? some sort of preparations that are extracurricular, not in their regular syllabus? What kind of training would they require?
See, I think Kalyanam has answered that beautifully. See, what is the? I would give you a little bit of what they need to prepare, but more importantly, how do they differentiate themselves from others, right? Because they are competing in the market, right? So you are specifically asking for data analyst kind of a role. Data analyst means different things for different people. So, but I will answer as a broader term. See, at the end of the day, I described, and I'm sure Kalyan described the application part. I described about what are the various stages of data life cycle, right? See, if you are doing something, whatever you're doing, let's say you want to collect data, you need to understand what are the various kinds of data types, right? If you look at your first chapter in your book today, it talks about data types and other things, right? So it's very difficult to understand that without that concept, without actually processing those data types, processing those real-time data types, right? So unless you do that, your ability to understand and your ability to explain that concept will be tough. First part. Second part is for you to see at the college level, you are processing limited data, but your approach and in the real-time world will be that you will process in three different ways, right? You will process the data in batch mode, but huge volumes of data. You might be processing data in real-time mode, maybe huge volume, maybe less volume, but you will need to understand the concepts behind how do I process this data, how do I analyze this data at a volume level, and what makes sense. See, again, as your wisdom goes, you know precisely which are the 2 or 3 things which are important in terms of the data and the dimensions of the data. So start understanding, given a business problem. So always associate for any work that you're doing, why this data is required for whoever is your consumer. For example, if there is a marketing head and he's looking at the customer data, does the marketing head wants the customer data from a understanding what the customers are buying point of view, or they are looking at customer from a how are they behaving in terms of purchasing my product, or they are looking at how is the behavior in making the choices and what choices they're leaving out, what choices. So there is a propensity elements. So there are many problems each business leader will have, right? So you need to understand what data is required for that kind of business process and in what way they want to make decisions. And you need to be therefore able to understand in what way I need to provide that input or that provide the decision input to that leader. So I've taken example here, but there could be many consumers. So for each consumer, what is the output they want, and how do you process this data to deliver to that output, right? It's not easy. So your data in most of the enterprise worlds is never available in one single place. Whereas in the colleges, you are assuming that it is available in one place. You create one table, you try to draw that. So try to achieve that in corporates, in enterprises. This data will not be in single table. Try to do it in multiple tables. So you will understand the significance, you will understand complexity of the problem. If there are tables, some part of the data is in one place, another part of the data is another place. How do I combine and how do I ensure that I don't have duplication? So a lot of these quality issues, right, that you need to practice them, and then you need to apply the real-time scenarios of the corporate to practice that. I often see that people try to apply one single table. They just want to complete the whole thing from a point of view of finishing the understanding of finishing that particular lesson, but try to do variations. The more variations you practice, the better you understand the concept and better you will be able to differentiate yourself, right? And the second most important thing we often look at is when do you apply what principles, right? So again, the ability will come the moment you start doing almost replicate the corporate scenarios, right? So you need to understand that corporate will have a sales system, they will have a marketing system, what kind of data that is. Most of this data and the data sets are available in the marketplace. One part. The second part that I would suggest is there are enough competitive sites today, like Kaggle or Data Camp kind of places are there where you can go and then see what kind of problems they are issuing. Take those problems, try to see whether you want to participate in the competition or not is a secondary issue, but at least you'll start learning what kind of problem statements are being given and what kind of problems people are asking and how do I solve them. At least start. We don't expect you to solve. If you are not able to solve, it's fine, but at least you tried, you practiced, you understood the problem statements and you understood a particular approach. If you succeed, it's great because it builds your confidence. If you start not excited, at least you know what questions you need to ask to different people and understand that. So it helps you in terms of differentiating. It helps you in terms of building your capabilities to the real-time market.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ravi Subramaniam, are you able to join us now? Is the technical glitch sorted, sir? Okay. Meanwhile, by the time Mr. Ravi gets back to us, Mr. Kalyanam Kannam, I have a specific question to you. Like, for example, there is an engineering graduate. He or she is in their final years and about to complete, but they have a keen interest in data sciences. They want to be a part of data, maybe data scientists or data analytics, right? So what kind of courses should they take up? What kind of aptitude should they, engage in themselves?
Okay, so to throw more light into, since I'm also in the education area, as Srinivas clearly mentioned, there are 5 distinct roles which is commonly available for all type of any branch of engineering. That's the beauty of data science. It is not only restricted to only computer science or IT, but it comes and span across all the levels of engineering, because a data analysis is required in all the areas. Take it for civil, take it for mechanical, take it for agriculture, take it for biomedical, aerospace, wherever it is, you need a data analysis. And a person with the domain knowledge of data analysis is the most wanted person in that particular area. So if you take that, so there's those 5 key roles. One is data analyst. The second one is data scientist. The third one is business analyst. It's also a data analytical role. And we also have a database administrator and data analytics manager. So this is the kind of role combination that we see in all the industries together. For example, if you're going for a manufacturing or a kind of industry, they will have a complete data analytics manager. The data where they're getting, if you go for a pure IT services company where they provide business insights or creating this kind of data, I would say data-based applications to customers, they mainly deal with data analysts and data scientists kind of thing. So if you see why this kind of role is important, so mainly the role of this data analyst as well as data scientist involves around some 7 or 8 areas in which what they do. One is they have to first inform decision making. For example, if it's a business problem, what they have, they should say go or no go. For that, data analysis is very much required. Then understanding the dynamics of the business. So in which area is doing well, which area is not doing well. So again, you have to apply all the data analytics algorithms and see, because each algorithm may be suitable for one specific problem. That is where the strength and then I would say the experience of the data analyst as well as data architects and data scientists will come. You can't apply the algorithm, every algorithm to all the problem. If it is a sales and marketing problem, area, region problem, and then the product problem, product quality problem, everything depends upon. So that is why they say the trained algorithm comes around 80 to 90% handy, because we cannot achieve 100% kind of prediction. Then we'll also become God. So you can just give a probability as a percentage how it is going to work. So that's how data analytics does. Then the other important thing is then what we have risk mitigation. That is a very important thing in any of the business to handle, so that we don't run into areas. For example, if you go finance domain, there is a huge bureau, that the risk mitigation bureau, which is what all we talk about, this what do you call that, financial credit score. All these things, entire world now revolves around credit score. That's nothing but the risk mitigation for the financial institutions, which comes out from the personal data of people who have borrowed things, taken loans, paid properly, not paid properly. All these things are getting analyzed and then creating a risk profile. And they are also gauging in terms of numbers up to 700, 300, like your GRE score kind of thing. So that is what is happening. All these things have been happening. Now it's happening very fast because of the data. And then the other thing is where to allocate resources. One of the main industry problem is, are we putting the resources in the right areas? So that your data analysis is going to be very helpful. For this, any branch of engineering doesn't count at all. All you need is the skill, and then every sector of engineering is going to have its own problems, and you are there going to solve that problem. So for that, if you say what are the certification courses, everything, I would say in your engineering degree, you don't need much kind of thing. Very simple 4 things I will not complicate. One is study your regression analysis, the Bernoulli's theorem, as well as your extrapolation, interpolation method based algorithms. That is going to help you a long way in any of the data analytics. And if it comes to tools, be focused on MATLAB, which is very much available in all your computer labs. Now MATLAB has excellent features to analyze data. Earlier it was not available. Now MATLAB also offers the facility to analyze your data and then bring into meaningful consideration. You can actually create multiple views. So you can take one small problem, which is working, which is not working. In this situation, this will work like this. In that situation, everything is possible in terms of MATLAB. So focus on MATLAB. And then if you have access to Hadoop, that is most of the big data is nothing a big word. It contains all type of data. That is structured, unstructured. The data is not numbers. What I'm meaning by data is your videos, images, text, and your your sound. Everything forms a big data. And there are multiple ways and scenarios to analyze each and everything, because now you can understand the complexity. So you can't analyze the same data. You can't apply the same rule. Same rule for video data as well as graphical data as well as text data. So you have to apply in a very different way, and sometimes different tools may also be required. So selecting those appropriate methods and tools, Hadoop is a very good platform. So if you have access, if you are comfortable with MATLAB and Hadoop, strong knowledge of regression methods as well as extrapolation, interpolation techniques, and some Bernoulli's theorem, then you are ready for your data analyst careers. Be it in engineering or in a polytechnic, that doesn't matter at all. So if you are skillful in this, everyone will come and take you. So that's my input for the students.
Yeah, just a few comments just to add
Yes,
to
sir.
what has been discussed just now. So see, it is also a function of what people want to do, right? So when Kalyanam says it is open to every branch, the reason it is open to every branch is because everywhere data is produced, right? Now, interpretation of the data is where what we call as understanding of the domain is required, right? So otherwise, if I have to explain to you and then you then have to interpret it, then you have to learn it. So it becomes a challenge. So having people with that kind of a domain knowledge becomes, for example, let's say we work in oil and gas industry. There are pipes there are blades there are pressure pumps there, which pumps. So there are many components, machinery components, and you need to understand the nature of those machines to be able to make what kind of decisions. Is it a pressure decision I need to take? Is it a temperature decision I need to take? Is it a flow decision I need to take? So you're taking those things. That is one. As you go to higher order, you need to understand domain. One critical thing that everybody need to have, whether it is IT branch or non-IT branch, is that they need to have coding skills. So coding skills cannot be replaced. 2, you need to have this domain skills. Domain skills you can build as you grow in your career, but your branch might make it easier for you to learn those domain skills quickly. So as compared to someone who's in IT, learned only about computers, someone who is in the mechanical side, learning about machines, so it becomes easy for them to learn. So therefore, that domain advantage will be there with other branches. The third area, where I think Kalyanam is emphasizing, is there are statistical inference-based processes, and then there are advanced computing and advanced tooling for decision sciences, right? So you need to develop both what is called statistical capability, and that is when you are looking at how to frame a problem and how to solve the problem for decision making. But there are also people who are required for the algorithm creation, and that requires mathematical capability, right? So whatever mathematics you are learning. So that means someone with a domain specialization, someone with coding specialization, someone with a statistical and mathematical capability, you have options, right? You can create higher order trading algorithms. You can create real-time fast track trading algorithms. So you can create those algorithms. So that requires a lot of mathematics. So someone with mathematics skills is definitely someone who will be preferred in those kind of terrains where you are looking at algorithm creation.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. So students, we know that data analytics is not something that is limited only for computer science students. It's for engineering students who are from varied backgrounds, right? So any questions that you have with respect to data analytics, with respect to the role of data analyst or data analytics that you want to ask, kindly pass it on to your student coordinator. They will post it on your behalf here so that we can ask the question to our guests here. Okay. Mr. Ravi, are you able to join us now? Okay, there seems to be some technical
Some
glitch.
issues are there. So one input that I wanted to give or add, the areas in which it's growing very faster. One is business and marketing. So basically market research and sales forecasting. These are the two areas where data is being consumed a lot and huge amount of job opportunities are available. So people say that I work for a service company, especially a back-end company. That is what they do. They do this kind of data mining from various sources and then provide it to the marketing team, where they create charts and say which is the product moving well, what would be the cost of competitive cost price. So accordingly, they can arrive at the price as well as which market to focus market. So I would say market research and sales and forecasting is a very prominent area, especially in the business and marketing area. And the other important thing which we don't know, but huge amount of data is happening is in the healthcare and life sciences. For example, if you take your treatments, for example, your MRI and CT scan, now all these machines are connected with the AI systems today. Especially, for example, there is a town in Tamil Nadu called Namakkal, where there is a Tangam hospital. So for the knowledge of saying, they have invested 12 crores of rupees and got a Siemens-based machine which has the AI capability. It's a wonderful machine which clearly says the prognosis of the cancer. For example, if you're doing a treatment for the cancer, it clearly predicts how the tumor is going to be getting reduced in over a period of time, what is the change in dosage it has to be, which a learned doctor has to do. The system was able to predict very accurately because of the algorithms as well as because of the AI capability what those Siemens has built into the system. So in healthcare area, they are doing very well, and huge amount of opportunities available in healthcare as data technicians, for example, people who can use that system, people who can collect and provide the system. So huge amount of job opportunities is available. That is one area. And the third important area, what we can see is the finance. As I told you earlier, all your credit rating bureau, as well as your, I would say the models in finance, for example, there are now so many financial fintech companies have emerged. They don't take only BCom students. There also there are plenty of role for engineering as well as polytechnic students, where they do a lot of this kind of analysis. So financial lending corporation is there, and they have come very big into the agri sector today. So using what you call a bank called NABARD. So they are doing a lot of work in terms of AI to do the predictive analysis for the agriculture. I would say, for example, which soil is important for which type of crop. So now they are trying to connect the satellite images where they provide the weather forecasting. And with that weather forecasting, with the nature of the soil data, what they have, and with the trend of that area, the traditional trend of that area for the past 20 years or 15 years, how the crops are coming down, they're able to very clearly predict this would be the crop that would be required for this particular season. Because the most areas where the crop fails is because of these two reasons. One is the weather is bad, or either it rains a lot, or it actually dries a lot, or the whatever what you call the crop, what we are putting is not coming up to the mark. For example, you would have heard some 6 months before, people who have planted 1 acre of tomatoes have become crorepati's. Because in future, it may be a possibility based on the various aspects what we have. It could clearly predict year 2026 would be a demand for this particular commodity, demand for this kind of vegetable. And then everywhere they have started this prediction, not only in agri industry, even in all FMCG sectors. So where the demand will be, where it will go down, which will go up. Accordingly, see, you can see the full chain. But if I know this particular, for example, in automotive, this particular vehicle is going to go. But I need to plan from 4 or 5 years earlier how to do the production for that. And how to do the production for that, I need plant engineers, I need resources to do this, I need raw materials to be imported, I need a person who are very much learned with the laws to do that. And then again, to do the, what you call, a complete assembly line and the marketing to market that one. So the entire ecosystem is involved in this, right from top to beginning, based on one simple prediction given by somebody. Earlier, the prediction used to come by experience. Now we have a, what you call, a profound theoretical as well as authenticated predictions coming out from this kind of AI thing, so that they can plan their production very well, plan their business very well, and then plan the resources very well, where we are all going to be part of it. So there is one overall larger scenario I thought I will provide to them, so that they will know that there is huge amount of opportunity in all the areas for what they are doing. And then the future is going to be, because there is no, for example, there is one small thought process going on, because of AI and machines, will job be cut? Definitely not. It is definitely going to increase. What we are going to do is increase the potential of the business. For today, we are doing business for 100 crores, and we will do business for 1,000 crores. So the number of people or number of resources or technical skills, what is required is definitely going only to increase, not decrease. And all what we have to do is to keep us in touch with the emerging technologies, emerging areas, so that how it can be practically put into use.
So I think just to add to what Kalyanam is saying again, I think Kalyanam was talking about this agriculture producer, and I got an interesting input from one of the governmental people, right? So one of the states offers what is called subsidy on your paddy and then some of the crops that you produce in that state. Now that subsidy is available to farmers in that state. Now, when they gave the subsidy, the state was producing, let us say, 1 lakh tons. I am taking a simple example here, but that it has happened really. But because of subsidy, they were actually getting more than what their crop acreage and the production of that state, they were getting from neighboring states. They were getting produced from neighboring states because this subsidy was good for most people. So they were trying to avoid that. Now, think how would government stop I won't call it as a fraud, but they wanted to provide the budget. They have budgeted for their farmers, and they wanted to make sure that it's available to their farmers, but it is being available by everybody else. So it shortens people who come later from their own state. Budget is less for them, right? So how do you therefore prevent the misuse of these funds for non-category people, right? So the state was throwing this problem to people, and then they asked if satellite imagery and AI can help them. So the simple thing is, people now have to track where and all these paddy crops are being planted, and then they need to compare that, right? So there is a mandate for the farmers to bring from their rural development or their village panchayats, as to take the picture of their satellite image of their crop, and then they have to submit that along with their produce to avail the subsidy. Now, people can you can take my crop image and get the paddy from some other location, right? If let's say I have field crop in my state and I have crop in my neighboring state, because our subsidy is good here, so I will want to sell here. So I can always show my crop here, but I can also bring the produce that I'm doing in neighboring state. So how do we prevent that fraud, right? So again, the application here is, I need to not only look at what is the acreage I am growing, but the system should now look at what is the growth, whether they actually cut in the place that I produced. So only if I'm able to look at.
Just give me 2 minutes, I'll just call you back. Give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, I need to cut the crop. I need to show that it has been cut, and I'm also looking at the progress of that crop regularly. So in a way, government, many of the schemes that government is now granting to people, a lot of these things have been applied. How do I prevent impersonation? How do I prevent fraud from others? How do I ensure that it is going to the right people? So there's a lot of this appears like a very simple use case, but the amount of technical thinking and amount of problem solving that is involved in this process is how much is growth, what is the prediction of its acreage, or what is the prediction of its yield. You need to do all the calculations, and you need to make sure that at the end of the day, person who is coming to you to claim the subsidy is the rightful owner of that particular plot. The plot is the rightful owner of that crop, and he is actually cut that only crop, not is bringing not from the neighboring. All those things you need to make sure that, and it is all done by data and data analytics. Right? One simple example that I could see. The second thing that we have seen is there is this most of the buildings, there are permissions that are given, and whether they are building to the permission or building to the approvals. These are all done through drone capture and then drone imagery. So image analysis, and then see whether there is any approvals or the constructions are done wrongfully. Those kind of things they try to check. And in our own, I think because Kalyanam's taken this example of marketing, we see a problem. For example, a simple thing we recently worked is a lot of people make claims, right? So based on insurance. So insurance is a great place where a lot of these data analytics tools are applied. For example, there are companies who look at the moment you call, they take the snapshot of your car. Let us say there is an accident. There's a picture that is picked up, and based on the picture, I need to do some level of adjudication of what value the damage is, and then I need to then use your document to see and then decide whether I should allow or not allow, and I should also see your track record of your driving skills. So there are lots of things that they capture. They collect the data. So now each of these things are coming from different places, right? Your driving information is coming from your driving. Nowadays, cars are equipped to transfer real-time data about your driving ability. So if you're a rash driver, the insurer knows that you are a rash driver, right? And based on that, they decide whether I should charge you more premium or less premium, right? So there is the driving capability is being analyzed real time from every car for every insurer that is with me, right? So most of this data, if I'm analyzing, I will prevent fraud. Most of the data I'm analyzing, I will prevent loss for the company. And I will also be able to better judge who is the most risky customer for me and who is less risky customer for me. So these are the kinds of examples. And you can see that it was not applied in the past, but it is applied, and it is improving the quality of how you make decisions and quality of how you select your customers.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a detailed explanation indeed. So students, if you have any questions, kindly pass it on to your student coordinator so that we can ask it to our experts. Mr. Ravi Subramaniam has joined us again. Sir, are you able to, unmute yourself now? Okay, let's wait for Mr. Ravi. By then, Mr. Srinivas Uppala, any final comments that you have to our students who want to take up their future career in terms of data sciences?
Like I said, the 2 or 3 important things that when we recruit, we look at is obviously coding skills. I don't have to tell you, you also know, and everybody knows that you need to have that skills. But I think problem solving approach, how determined are you in terms of picking the nuances of the problem? Are you able to see half the time in data sciences and in data scenarios? It is either your coding skills that will solve problem for you, or your ability to understand and then state the problem correctly will make your life the difference to the problem statement, right? So like in the example that I gave about that state and then the subsidy of farming, they went through almost a 12 months of rigorous trials of how to say that there's a prediction of yield. So your ability to improve the accuracy of algorithm is important. And I will also tell you, if you don't understand these algorithms, you don't understand some of these terms properly, you have a larger issue. The larger issue would be, I can tell you a recent example where a customer has asked, can you help me with my sales, my production forecasting? So the customer has two types of scenarios. One where they produce for stock, and other one they produce based on order. So order to manufacture and order to stock. These are two scenarios they have. Now their problem is, I'm creating this order to stock, but I have to also get a lot of this material from multiple parts of the country, and multiple international suppliers also there for me, right? So for me to stock, I need to make sure that I have a minimum inventory, or I minimize amount of stock I keep in the based on the orders that I've seen in the past. That is the problem statement they have given. And this person is a good guy, extremely smart guy. He gave and he said, this is the algorithm for you. This is the forecasting for you. And he told something like, the accuracy of this algorithm is only 35%. Now, customer is a domain person. He is in the production area. He said, hey, I am today doing it manually. I am calculating this in my Excel sheets. The amount of data I'm getting, and then the amount of parts I have, I'm unable to do. But if you're giving me an algorithm which is only 35% accurate, what does it mean to me, right? It means that I am going to have 65% of overstock. Or does it mean that I will be wrong in predicting my suppliers and then give orders 65% times wrong? What are you trying to tell me? Right? So people get very, very tense the moment you give this kind of numbers without understanding what it means, right? So the real problem there is, there are, in the customer scenario, there are products that are stable order system products. There are products which are new. There are products that they manufacture where there is 10% plus or minus that they need to do depending on order, depending upon the customers that they require. So your ability to predict with these models is very good for place in scenarios where there is a stable and ordering system, and that for that you don't need an accuracy, right? You more or less are saying something Excel sheet or some my own prediction, my own algorithm can make that sense. So where do they require real problems, real solution? They require real solution where this plus or minus 10% customization I need to do. I need to be able to accurately predict that, and wherever it's a new product. So our process was that this person is saying the stable product I'll be you 100%. The customization elements I'll give you almost 98%. But for the new product, I don't know, it might be very low. That is what you want to tell, and then it will over a period of time improve. But if you say this aggregated statement saying that your algorithm can be 35%, customers get very agitated because you are giving wrong picture to the customer. So my humble request is your concept, your understanding of what does precision means, what does accuracy means should be very clear in your minds. And when you are applying that to a specific problem, you should be able to explain that to the customer, saying that this is the algorithm and this is the characteristics of this algorithm and this is the value you'll get out of this algorithm. And that is what I want to tell you, that learn whatever concept you are learning, understand that concept in its application mode rather than just a definition mode.
Thank you, sir. Like sir said, it's not just about theory, learn about the practicality of what you're learning. So that would be more helpful in terms of making your career in data analytics in the future. So, Mr. Kalyanam Kannan, your final commentaries and suggestions to the students.
So I think Srini has covered most of the things. And one of the other very interesting area I would say for the students as well as for the entire population is augmented reality and virtual reality. So these two are buzzwords today, and everywhere we are talking about VR and AR. So there is a very fine difference between AR and VR, where virtual reality is something you will get involved in this. For example, if you put a glass on your eyes, you can feel as if you're jumping from the mountain or going into the sea or whatever it is. That is one kind of thing. But augmented reality is becoming very, very popular today, where we can conduct events virtually. For example, all these things are based on data. So why I wanted to link that is, whatever we do in augmented reality is completely based on data available with the systems. For example, if you want to conduct a marriage, and you can conduct a what you call virtual marriage, where I need a audience of 1,000 people. I can create 1,000 dummy objects. And if those 1,000 people will actually, it is being already augmented. Augmented is what you can see. That's what augmented reality is. Seeing it as a reality. So those dummy objects they will train the dummy objects to go and walk inside the marriage hall, go and sit in different places, and the person who is performing puja will come. Everything will be dummy objects. What augmented reality is going to happen is, if you log in into the system, your image and face will get into that particular body, so that you will see you walking into that particular marriage hall. You are going and sitting in the chair. So practically you will be conducting a wedding. I'm not joking. It's happening in reality. In Spain as well as in India, they have created one augmented reality marriage of 500 people, where all the relatives have joined, and then their photos are being linked to that particular objects, and they all walked into the marriage hall. They went and sat. They conducted a marriage kind of thing. Practically, this will be applicable not only for marriage, even for training, industry visits. For example, industry visits are very important. There you can have all the simulated machines will be there. Instead of you going and visiting, you can see yourself walking and then visiting the machine, you sitting here. Actually, you'll be just logging in, but you will see in the system you are walking and going and seeing the machine. So that is augmented reality. That is going to happen very fast, maybe in a couple of years.
Yeah, not couple of years. I think you'll start seeing that in the next elections, Kalyanam.
Elections, maybe, yeah.
PM Modi will start speaking Tamil for Tamil audiences.
Everything is possible. Everything is possible.
They have already trialed it a couple of months back. So
yeah, okay. So, and that one augmented reality platform also come. So you can log in into the platform, and then you can go and dance in what you call auditorium. You can go and sing, and you can do whatever you want. You will see you yourself is doing it by sitting here. So that is what augmented reality is. And that is where data is going to be that all these data are your image data. So to see exploring the possibilities in every area, even for passion, interest, entertainment, everywhere this is possible. All these things is fundamentally learn as well as your methods very, what you call, rigidly, and then try to apply that and see where you want to be there. So currently the situation for the students is they learn everything. Application level, it is not being clearly fed into them saying where it is going to get applied. Once you have that kind of goal saying that this is where my learning is going to help me, they will also develop interest. They will also have passion. And from ISERT as well as from the colleges, we provide all these platforms for them. We actually request students to get in touch with it for any other those kind of creative things. We will be there to support them. And we have our friends as well as supporters like Srinivas and many more people who can help us in this technology journey for them, so that it becomes much more interesting as well as more effective for the students.
See, just to add what Kalyanam is saying is, you in your subjects, you will find that there will be hundreds of concepts. That means there is a lot of breadth because you learn from textbooks. Every chapter, every section in the chapter has certain kind of concept. I'm sure your professors, your teachers, your colleagues will teach you those things. When we are looking from an industry perspective, our endeavor is to look at depth as well, right? So if you're saying I have a breadth of 100, but you don't have depth even in one area, it is a problem for us to select it, right? But if you're saying I have breadth of 100 or maybe 60 or maybe 30, but I have depth in 25 of that 30, I find it much more suitable for me to select that kind of people as compared to somebody who will rattle 10, 100 concepts without understanding what they mean. So my suggestion to you is, whatever area that you are picking up, let's say out of 100, you are picking up 40, 30, be very clear about those concepts, be deep in that area. You can always steer your conversations. You can always steer your interviews toward that direction, saying that I'm very strong in this area, sir, ask me questions in this area. And most people will oblige. And if you are very good in that area, you will find yourself selected. So that is my advice to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Like all the panelists said, Mr. Srinivasan Pala and Mr. Kalyanam Sundaram said, right? Like whatever you are reading as part of your academics, it's not just the theory. You have to think about its practicality. And in case you need any help in terms of understanding what would be the industry requirements, how these concepts that you're studying are being applied in industries currently, you can always get in touch with ISERT. They're here to help you. right? With those words, I would like to conclude this session. I thank all the participants, especially the students, staff, organizers, and our esteemed panelists on behalf of ISERT for being a part of this conclave. Meet you all with another discussion aimed at giving you valuable insights in relevant industries from various experts next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.